Well, good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining me on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube Live. This is the first time that we're going to be broadcasting on all three social media platforms, and I hope that many of you have the opportunity to spread the word and to keep us in mind as we move forward. Now, there are many issues that I'm going to discuss tonight within a short period of time. But first, I'd like to give Kyle Johansson, who has been really creative in working on building New Jersey Team Trump commercials. You're going to see some of them on our Facebook page, on our Twitter page. You'll see some of them on YouTube. So we're getting the word out about Team Trump here in New Jersey, and we're going to begin to move along with the president's Make America Great Again policies and programs as we move forward, at least to the end of the year. Now, tomorrow, very important. I'm going to be in Allentown, Pennsylvania. We're going to be at a Trump rally where we're going to again bring forth to the public some of the great accomplishments of President Donald J. Trump. That rally is going to be well attended. We expect to have a great time, folks. Now, if you'd like to come, if you would like to join us in Allentown, Pennsylvania, all you have to do is get on your computer and put in that navigation bar, rallypa.org. That's rallypa.org. And once you're able to get onto that website, you'll see all the information that you're going to need to be at that rally tomorrow. Those of you who live in Pennsylvania, I want you to know that President Trump has made it very clear, and as he did in his campaign, that he's looking to bring jobs, a lot of jobs, to people all across this country. I've said all along, his apprentice program and job program is going to have significant impact on this nation. Right now, as we speak, the unemployment rate is down, record numbers. The economy is just booming, ladies and gentlemen. The stock market is good. I mean, the numbers, when you look at the staggering numbers that we were facing with regard to unemployment, with regard to people in poverty, with regard to economic stress in every neighborhood, in every city, in every state across this country during the 8 years of Barack Obama, compare those 8 years to what we now have. We have a president of the United States who is keeping his promises. So stay tuned, because once he begins to work on this tax program, which, by the way, he unveiled within the past 24 hours, you're going to see a lot of great things happening in this country. People are already talking about keeping their companies here, bringing their companies back here, a job growth. I mean, the decrease in taxes that he is proposing, both in the corporate world and those of us who are on Main Street USA, is going to have significant positive impact on this country and on you, those of you who do live on Main Street. Now, let's talk for a moment about the Make America Great Again tour that we have started in New Jersey. Some time ago, we resurrected the New Jersey Team Trump team. There's many of us now in every county. We are now reaching what I believe to be close to 25 or 30,000 when we're broadcasting on the internet. And we're talking about Facebook, we're talking about Twitter, we're talking about YouTube. So we're reaching tens of thousands of people around the country and here in the state of New Jersey especially. I mean, my Twitter feed has grown since the time we began to broadcast some of the president's messages to 93,000. You could look at it yourself. You go to my Twitter and you'll see there's 93,000 followers. Now, I'm not suggesting that all of them may be friends. You know, we do have unfriendly people that probably just want to pipe in and see what we're up to. But here's what we're up to. We're up to telling the truth. We're up to talking about the president's agenda. We're up to talking about how great this country is becoming under his leadership. And those are the things we're not hearing when it comes to the mainstream media. But those are the things that you will be hearing as we continue to use social media as a method to get the word out about making America great again. Now, you can become part of Team Trump New Jersey. All you have to do is contact us. We're going to be posting that information on Facebook and on Twitter within the next hour or so, obviously when we're off the air here. And you just send us an email and we'll get you the information you need. Absolutely no cost. We're not going to be asking you for contributions, donations. That's not what we're in it for. We're in it to help the President of the United States advance his agenda, which has been very successful. Very little news about his agenda. Very little news, very little talk about his successes, because that's something that mainstream media simply does not want to advertise. So we're going to advertise it. And believe me, I believe that through social media, we're probably reaching more people through social media than some of these mainstream news media outlets are reaching. That's how important it is. And that's why we ask you, when we finish with these broadcasts, to share it across your social media platforms. Because when you share it, somebody else shares it. And before you know it, we're going to have 1 million people watching and hearing what we have to say with regard to the President of the United States. Now, our Make America Again tour here in New Jersey, which we're beginning in September, which actually is tomorrow, we're going to be visiting business organizations, political organizations, religious, professional, civic organizations. We're going to be going all over the state, speaking to people that are willing to have us come in and to talk to them about one thing and one thing only: the future of this country under the leadership of President Donald Trump. That is so important. Since we have been getting the information out, disseminating this information out via social media, I could tell you the response has been overwhelming. We have, I should say I have at this point, I'm getting hundreds of emails and messages a week from people all over the country saying that they did not know that the president had all these accomplishments during the past 7 months. And the reason why they didn't know that is that the mainstream media is not interested in talking about the great things our president's doing. So you just get in touch with us and we'll get you the information. And by the way, they're factual. You could check them out. You could fact check them. And you're going to see some of the great things that President Trump has already accomplished in these past 7 months. Now, let's talk about something else that is not talked about very much. And I'm going to really be brief about this because the mainstream media had nothing better to do than to point out the fact that the First Lady was wearing heels when she was leaving the White House and going to Air Force One, or going to the helicopter, Marine One. To begin with, she's a classy individual. She's the best First Lady we've had in many, many years. She carries herself with honor and with dignity. So why on earth would the mainstream media, during the course of a tremendous tragedy happening in Texas, focus in on something that none of us really care about, and that is the shoes that the First Lady was wearing? How hypocritical, how nonsensical, and downright it reveals the hypocrisy and the foolishness and the childishness of the mainstream media. Well, the First Lady happened when she landed in Texas. She was wearing sneakers and she went out there in the field with her husband and brought comfort to people. She has actually committed herself to bringing comfort to people. And in a time of crisis, when you see the First Lady and you see the President of the United States on the ground where the tragedy is happening, it does a lot for your morale. And let me get to that. Let's talk about what the president has been doing when he went to Texas and going to Louisiana and going into these hurricane-torn areas. The mainstream media, and I heard it myself, they were saying, well, he went there for a photo op. He went there because of politics. No, he did not. The fact of the matter is that any leader, any commander-in-chief, I was a commander in the Navy. I was a commander in a police department. So I know what command is, and I know what one of the first duties of a commander is. And the president fulfilled that duty by going into these areas, bringing encouragement and hope, and letting people know that their leader, that their country's leader, his heart, soul, and spirit, as well as the heart, soul, and spirit of his wife, were with them. Folks, what that does for morale, what that does for the first responders is something that cannot be described. You've got to be one of those people to feel it, to sense it, to know it, and to understand it. That your leader, that your country's leader and his wife, and today the vice president, are right there in the thick of it with you. You see, that's something the mainstream media and the left will never understand because they don't act that way. In their view, they look through the lens of politicians. They're the ones that are looking for the photo ops. They're the ones that would go down and not give a hoot about the people until there's a tragedy, and then they would show up for pictures. I've said it over and over and over again, and the mainstream media does not want to hear this. When I asked the question, how on earth did we get to where we are in this nation today? How did we get here? Wasn't President Trump? He's only in office 7 months. We got here because of the mainstream media, number one. Number two, the political correctness that was brought to us by the Democrat Party, number three, and career politicians. Now, President Donald Trump comes into office. He's here 7 months, and he's fighting and fighting and fighting these career politicians and those who have lived and swam in the swamp for a lifetime. So when we talk about trying to get things done, we're talking about a president of the United States that is fighting, continuing to fight day in and day out for you and for me. The man has kept his promise. I can't point to many politicians who keep their promises. In fact, I'm still trying to name a few that actually kept promises the way President Trump is keeping his promises. But we'll let history bear that out. So that's what he's doing down, and that's what he has done down in Texas and in Louisiana. He's going down there because his heart is with those people. And a good commander, a great commander, is not an armchair commander, meaning that he's going to sit in his seat in the White House or at Trump Tower and view the tragedy from on high. He is a true commander who has gone to the scene of this tragedy. He's gone to the trenches. He's gone to where the tragedy is with his wife, with the vice president, and he's responding accordingly. I can tell you, I was one of those rescuers, one of those responders in Louisiana when Hurricane Katrina hit that coast. I went into the Ninth Ward. The mission I had was to lead a team into the Ninth Ward to rescue dogs and cats and animals. When I got there, there was chaos. There was no chain of command. FEMA, nowhere to be found. Couldn't find trailers, couldn't find water, couldn't find food. I thank God that the Red Cross and the United States Humane Society had set up camp in those areas of devastation because there was order there. So I know firsthand that when you go into a tragedy and there's no order, there's no chain of command, what could happen? President Trump made sure that history wasn't going to repeat itself. So when people went to Houston, there was a chain of command. There were people in charge. FEMA was on the ground, and on and on and on and on. That's why, ladies and gentlemen, you're not hearing about what so many of the other tragedies that could take place that you heard about in Louisiana during Katrina. The President of the United States took command. He's in command, and he's going to see this through. That is what great leadership is. That is what the mainstream media will never share with you. But we're sharing it with you, and we're going to continue to share this with you. Now, let's talk about some of the experiences that we're having as we are going across the media circuits on Fox and CNN and MSNBC and on and on and on, and One America News. We're doing a pretty good job, our team. Look, people have asked me and said, why are you going on CNN? Why are you going on MSNBC? Why are you going here? Why are you going there? Why not? Why not go on these stations and challenge the things that they are saying about the President of the United States? Why not go on these stations, stand up tall, stand up strong, and with great strength and determination, actually give them facts that they're not going to give to the people? Yes, many times they'll cut us off. Yes, they'll try to pivot to another direction, but we have a professional team of people on the President's Advisory Board who are handling this very, very well. And as I tweeted out last week, with 11,000 plus responses, I said that the greatest problem that the mainstream media has today is that they don't know how to handle President Donald Trump because they don't know how to handle a leader who is honest. That is why the mainstream media is in chaos. It is not the White House. It is the mainstream media. In all the years of politics that I've seen in my lifetime, I've always seen the mainstream media would cozy up to some politicians. They would know how to handle them. And, one hand washes the other. Whose back is scratching whose? Now you got a president who's honest, who's going to keep his promise and is keeping his promises to the American people. And that's something mainstream media just simply does not know how to handle. Well, they better learn how to handle it quick. A person on the news the other week told me on the air, said, he's a 4-year president. What are you going to do after 4 years? I said, nah, he's not a 4-year president. He's an 8-year president. Donald Trump is going to get reelected by a landslide when his time comes up to get reelected, believe me. he will go down as one of the greatest presidents this country has ever had. You just wait and see. You know, Ronald Reagan took same type of criticisms, not as intense as President Trump is, but Reagan was criticized. We were told Reagan's an actor. Reagan couldn't do this. Reagan was inexperienced. Reagan this, Reagan that. Ronald Reagan became one of America's greatest presidents. Hold on, folks. President Donald J. Trump is on the way to that Hall of Fame, that great hall of great American presidents. So that's what I wanted to share with you this evening. We're going to come on as often as we could. Now, this was a bit of an experiment tonight. We're on live now on YouTube. We're live on Facebook. We're live on Twitter. And I'm going to see, I want to see how many people have tuned in all of these three platforms, because usually we get, probably by the end of 72 hours, close to 800-900 people view. I can't see any feeds that people may be giving the Facebook. I just can't see anything actually but myself on the air. So that's a pretty good thing to look at, I think. So anyway, I want to thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to be here tonight. Allentown, Pennsylvania tomorrow. Go to rallypa.org. We're going to be posting a lot of our information, especially how you can become part of New Jersey Team Trump. We have a website. We're going to post that. Give us an email. I'll give it to you now, okay? Email steve@teamtrumpnj.us. That's steve@teamtrumpnj.us. If you missed it, just roll this video back after we post it, and you know what? You're going to get that information. Now, Joe Albergo, I want to thank you very, very much for setting this up. Joe Albergo, you'll see on our website, he's our Deputy Chief of Staff now. He's taking care of all of our communication needs, connecting us here, connecting us there. In fact, Joe, I just got a little message up here that said Skype just connected to us. This is all foreign to me, so I have no idea what's going on other than Joe said, get yourself in front of that camera and just start giving the message, and he'll take care of the rest. Well, that's what I'm doing. So I've gone down a list of things here. I think that I got pretty much everything that I wanted to say tonight. So we're going to be coming to you. I'm going to try to make it every Thursday night around 7:30. That seems like the best night. And if you have any questions, you email us, and we'll be more than glad to answer them on the air. So folks, above and beyond everything I've shared with you tonight, many people ask, what can I do to help? Yes, you could become part of New Jersey Team Trump. Yes, you could go to the rallies and heighten the awareness. Yes, you could help us spread the word about the president's policies. But the greatest thing, the best thing you could do is pray. Pray for our president, pray for our country, and a special prayer, a very special prayer for all of those fellow Americans in Houston, in Texas, the entire state, in Louisiana. Look, it may sound old-fashioned to some people, but I still believe God is still answering prayer. I believe God has never given up on answering prayers. All we got to do is ask, and ye shall receive. So let's pray for our fellow Americans. And I also always include not only our fellow human beings, but our dogs, our cats, our horses, our animals. If you're not a pet owner, you probably don't really understand how a pet becomes part of a family. A pet becomes a family member. And I was so thrilled to see the Navy and the Army and the Marines and the Coast Guard and first responders and neighbors rescuing dogs and cats and birds, horses and cattle. I mean, we didn't have that in Hurricane Katrina. Many, many perished. Many people had to leave their pets behind. But President Donald Trump made sure that when FEMA responded and the military responded and all the first responders responded, that we would not ever leave any family member behind. And that included those family pets. That's the kind of president we have. And that's the kind of president we're going to have beyond those 4 years, totaling 8 years. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me tonight. I want to see how all this worked out. I hope it worked out okay. We're going to look to see how many people by the end of the week or the next few days viewed this. Worked out. We're going to be back. We're at 93,000 on Twitter, I think 25,000 on Facebook, and climbing every day. And by the way, speaking about climbing, Don't believe in those polls regarding the president's popularity. One of the most popular presidents in the United States of America. Believe me. God bless you. God bless America. And God bless those first responders and all those people in Houston, the whole state of Texas, and Louisiana. Good night.